He was in Hiroshima when the first bomb dropped, then in Nagasaki when the second one hit, and he survived them both. Meet Tsutomu Yamaguchi, just your average 29-year-old mild-mannered Japanese man from Nagasaki. He was a marine engineer at Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, aka the company that built ships, tanks, and probably a few war crimes on the side during World War II. Just a regular guy, with a regular job and regular aspirations like not being nuked. He was married to a woman named Hisako, and they were happy together. Dude was literally just trying to earn a living, design some oil tankers, and go home to his wife. You know, basic husband stuff. Then in 1945, Mitsubishi sent him to Hiroshima on a work trip. You know how work trips usually just ruin your sleep and give you awkward buffet lunches? Well, this one dropped a 15-kiloton nuke on his head. It's August 6, 1945, and Yamaguchi has just wrapped up his work in Hiroshima. He's been there for 3 months helping Mitsubishi design an oil tanker. His job's done, he's packing up, and he's literally on his way to the train station to head back to his home in Nagasaki. But nope, at 8:15 a.m., the universe went plot twist. That's when a bomber plane dropped Little Boy, the first atomic bomb ever used in war, and all hell broke loose. Yamaguchi was about 2 miles from ground zero, close enough to get wrecked, far enough not to get turned into a permanent shadow on the sidewalk. He saw the bomber drop something with a parachute, and then flash. A light so blinding he thought the sun had exploded. Then came the shockwave, which launched his body like a rag doll. His eardrums ruptured, and the left side of his upper body got scorched by the thermal blast. But the man got up. He walked. Half deaf, burned, and stunned, he dragged himself to a nearby air raid shelter and spent the night in what can only be described as actual hell. And guess what? The next day, this badass somehow found a train. Yes, a fucking operational train in post-nuke Hiroshima, and rode it all the way back to Nagasaki. Because apparently, not even atomic death can stop a Japanese salaryman from clocking back in at the office. So Yamaguchi gets off that train in Nagasaki, half-cooked and barely upright. Most people would have checked into a hospital or, I don't know, a trauma center, but not our boy Yamaguchi. No, sir. The next day, on August 9th, 1945, the man drags his barely functioning body into Mitsubishi's office, bandaged like a mummy. He tries to explain to his stunned co-workers and boss what happened. He tells them Hiroshima got nuked, and they're like, "Dude, you must have hit your head. No way that's real." Cue the gods of irony. The US drops Fat Man on Nagasaki. Boom. Mushroom cloud number 2. And again, he's about 2 miles from ground zero, knocked down by another shockwave, surviving yet another blast. Because of course he does. The guy has more plot armor than John Wick in a church. This time though, the destruction is so massive that he can't even believe he survived twice. But instead of curling into a ball and sobbing like a normal person, he stumbles home through yet another hellscape. And waiting for him at home, his wife, drenched in the black rain, the radioactive fallout that followed the explosion. And guess what? She survived too. At that point, even death was like, all right, fine, I give up. By now, most people would retire to a quiet countryside and never leave their house again. But Yamaguchi? Nope. The man leveled up. He went back to work at Mitsubishi, as if being nuked twice was just a mild inconvenience like a flat tire. His hearing was permanently damaged. His burns took months to heal, and the dude was wrapped in bandages like a radiation-soaked burrito. But he kept pushing through the pain. Then in later years, Yamaguchi and his wife brought 1 son and 2 daughters into this world. Because surviving 2 nuclear blasts apparently wasn't enough excitement for one lifetime. Despite both parents being exposed to enough radiation to roast a cow, their children were born without birth defects, though they reportedly had some chronic health issues growing up, which, let's be real, is still a miracle. Life handed them nuclear annihilation, and they made a family out of it. You can't get more badass than that. Now here's where it gets kinda heartbreaking. For decades, Japan kinda treated atomic bomb survivors like radioactive lepers. People avoided them, thinking they were cursed or contagious. All that time, Yamaguchi kept quiet. But after his son died of cancer in 2005, a death likely linked to radiation exposure, something in Yamaguchi snapped. The silence stopped being a shield. So Yamaguchi started speaking out. In his 80s, he became an anti-nuclear activist, started giving interviews, speaking at the UN, telling the world, "Hey, I've seen the inside of hell twice. Let's not do that again." He was officially recognized in 2009 by the Japanese government as the only person to have survived both Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and he used that platform to beg humanity to knock off the whole "nukes are cool" thing. Finally, Tsutomu Yamaguchi died in 2010, aged 93, a stomach cancer that may or may not be linked to the radiation. After staring down 2 atomic bombs, the only thing that could stop him was time. If humanity ever needs a poster child for survival, resilience, and giving the middle finger to death, it's this guy. Absolute, goddamn, legend.